All right, everybody, how y'all doing? And welcome back to my channel. We're gonna go ahead and talk about the new Ryzen 7000 X3D CPU that was launched on April 28, 2023. Now, AMD set this CPU up for gaming. We already know that AMD wants to be the control over the gaming universe. They want to say, hey, we're the best at gaming, but we're gonna continue to be the best at gaming. So let's get into the price, how many cores, how many threads. Is it better than the Ryzen 7 5800X3D, etc.? Let's get into it. Alrighty, the Ryzen X3D lineup. The Ryzen 7 7800X3D is 8 cores, 16 threads. Base is 4.2 GHz, boost is 5.0 GHz. TDP is 120 watts. Price at launch is $449.99. This processor will be released sometime in April. It is an APU. The Ryzen 9 7900X3D, 12 cores, 24 threads, 4.4 GHz. Boost is 5.6 GHz. TDP is 120 watts. Price at launch, $599.99. Launch date was April 28, 2023, and it's an APU. The Ryzen 7, no, let me correct, the Ryzen 9 7950X3D, 16 cores, 32 threads, 4.2 GHz, boost 5.7 GHz, TDP 120 watts, price at launch $699.99. Yes, this is an APU. Now their baby, the Ryzen 7 5800X3D, 8 cores, 16 threads, 3.4 GHz, 4.7 GHz, 105 watts, TDP. Launch date was $449 on April 20th, 2022. Now, by me going over those specs of the X3D lineup, is this a good CPU to use for gaming? If you're all about gaming, then yes. You just have to go ahead and put together the price of how much you want to spend and building you a new system on this lineup. These CPUs are not expensive. The motherboards for these CPUs are not expensive as well. So you'll be on DDR5 memory. Putting it together, it's going to cost you a little over $2,400. Depends on $2,800. All depends on the components you put in there. So that comes into play too, is how much you want to spend in building this system. Now, I will go back with my final thoughts of the CPU, and I will give you my thoughts of whether you should buy it or should you walk away. All right, everybody, my final thoughts of this CPU. After watching all the benchmarks from PCware, Tech Testers, Paul Hardware, Yes Tech City, and after watching those charts, and to be honest with you, I would not buy the CPU, and I would not recommend you to buy the CPU. Now, if you want to buy on a consumer perspective, that's up to you. Because if you're all about gaming and you want to build your first gaming rig, yes, then this CPU is for you. Just like I said, it's all about the price point. Once you go ahead on and put the price point together and how much you want to spend, then that's good for you. But on a perspective level, AMD set these chips for gaming. Now, I'm not a gamer, not that much. I'm more of productivity as well as gaming. My productivity level is 80 to 90%, where my gaming is about 10 to 20%. Now, I need a CPU that's going to go ahead and perform on both ends, whether I'm doing productivity work such as Photoshop, video editing, rendering, etc. Instead of just focusing on gaming. My productivity level needs to be basic balance, 50% doing this, 50% doing that. And if it's not balanced, then it's not really that good. Watching the charts and understanding the charts. The Ryzen 7 5800 X3D keeps up with the Ryzen 9 X3D 7900 X3D and the Ryzen 9 7950 X3D. The Ryzen 7 5800 X3D, as well as the i9 13 900K, also kept up with it. In certain titles in gaming, it beat it. In certain titles, it was just basically neck and neck, beating it by maybe 3 to 10% on the FPS. But other than that, no, it's not a good CPU. If you're not a gamer, and this is where a lot of people went back to the Intel CPUs, such as the 12th gen and the 13th gen, because on the productivity level, such as photoshopping, photo rendering, the Ryzen 9 7900 X3D and the Ryzen 9 7950 X3D lacks in time and processing all the photos and doing all the rendering. It lacks into that department. Gaming, just like I said, AMD set this CPU out for gaming only, and to AMD technology staff, if y'all just focusing on one specific group, then you're gonna go ahead and lose in general, because you cannot just focus on one specific. Okay, this CPU is set up for gaming, but you gotta keep into a perspective mind that everybody don't game. Everybody wants a CPU that is going to go ahead and do productivity as well too. Just like right now, someone opens up a business and they want to go ahead and be a home designer, and they need this CPU to go ahead and start rendering photos, 3D imaging, etc., etc. This is where the CPU lacks at. So this is why a lot of people went back to the Intel, and the 13900K performs well, handling the photo rendering part as well as the gaming. So bottom line, I would not recommend this CPU. I would not buy the CPU because, one, the price point, buying the components is expensive. Now, everything that I went over, such as the performance and the benchmark, all that will be in the description below. If you decide to purchase this on the consumer's level, because just keep in mind, I cannot tell a consumer how to spend their money and what to buy for themselves. And two, if you think this CPU is good for gaming, then go ahead on and buy it. I'm not stopping you from buying it. I'm just keeping everything in perspective. But on the consumer level, all the information is listed in the description below, such as the benchmarks, etc. I did a price list if you want to decide to purchase this to give you a real equivalent price point of how much you will be spending on this new lineup. And it's not cheap. So you'll be spending, like I said, you'll be spending a little bit over $2,300 to $2,900, up to $3,000. All depends on what type of hardware you're putting into it, how much you're spending on the motherboard, how much you're spending on the power supply, because the power supplies are not cheap no more, how much you're spending on your case, etc. So you got to keep that in mind when spending money on this new lineup. Now, I want to thank y'all for watching. If you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.